Well, yeah, thanks for joining. You know, it was really exciting to get you in here. I know we have some similarities from what I learned about you through your Bigger Pockets podcast, and then some differences with how you've grown and what you've gone on to next. But yeah, I really wanted to just make this the first video chat, really open, well, not as much open forum on this one. I think that'll be on the videos to come, but on this one, really just, you know, introduce myself. And I figured you'd be a great person to have talking with me about this space, the NFTs, real estate in general, just with both of our experiences. So thank you again for hopping on, and thanks everyone else that's sitting here listening. You know, towards the end, what I'll do is I will open it up just to see if anyone does have some questions for us if we get there. But I know both of us, Pili and I, both have about a little less than that, about 45 minutes here where we can get into things, and I think we're both talkers, so that can go quick. But yeah, I'll get started just by talking about who I am and, you know, how I got into this, you know, the NFT space, and how I got into real estate. Because I've been in real estate now for about 7 years, and I've been wearing a lot of hats in this space. But it's funny because there's this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think a lot of people will say they've read, they know about, and it's a book that was given to me when I was back in high school. And I read the book back in high school, and I didn't think much about it. I graduated high school in 2002, just to put my age out there. I'm in my upper 30s. But yeah, so I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad, didn't think much about it. I went into college, and in college I got a marketing and advertising degree. And then, you know, fast forward right out of college, about a year in, I'm a business banker. Nothing to do with marketing, you know, completely finance oriented. So 8 years a business banker, and I'm sitting there at my desk one day, and I decided, you know, I'm going to read Rich Dad Poor Dad again. You know, I pull it off the bookshelf, I open up the book, and of course, as a business banker, you get to interact with, you know, I was on average dealing with companies grossing around, you know, three to 5 million a year. So you get to see a lot of different things with the people that you're working with. And, you know, the one thing I knew was that after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad again was that I wasn't meant to be wearing a suit every day. You know, down here in hot Florida, you know, sweating as I walk to my car and working that typical 40, 50 hour a week job. So that's when I decided I'm going to get my real estate license, and I'm going to tell one of my clients who now, you know, 7 years into this is still my mentor, that I was going to hop into real estate. And so now we look ahead to where I'm at right now, and I own some rental properties. I primarily project manage in real estate, so I maintain about 2 to 4 rehabs or property flips at a time that are going on, and a lot of, like 80% of my day is a lot of the project management of that, while at the same time just looking for that next rental property and just looking for the next deal. And I do have my real estate license, but, you know, at the end of the day, my real estate license is so that we can save a little bit of money on the back end on our real estate transactions. And as you know, just be able to see those real estate deals the second they hit the MLS, because I think that's pretty critical. And, you know, a lot of people will tend to ask you, you know, should I get my real estate license if I'm gonna be a real estate investor? And, you know, I tell people yes, and the reason I tell people yes is because it just gives you a little bit of a leg up to, you know, I try and say there's no competition out there, but, you know, to the person in the next town over and the next street over that's looking for the same properties that you want to have that first access, and you don't want to be waiting or relying on, you know, that realtor that you might be working with to get you into that property, especially in a market that we're in right now, which any of you that are in this channel or group right now know, if you're paying attention to real estate, it is just, it's crazy. When I talk to people who have been in this business for decades, they're even telling me, Dane, this is something we've never seen before, just with how the market is. You know, we've seen what it was like back in 07 with the crash, but just how it is right now, it is just such a interesting space to be in, you know, alongside the NFT space, but just real estate in general. I can't even explain it to people right now. You know, people will continue to ask me, is right now a good time to buy a house? And, you know, I'll say something my mentor always tells me, you know, it's always the right time to buy real estate if you buy real estate the right way. But that's really just a little bit about me and how I ended up getting into real estate. And then just to go back to how I got into NFT space in general, I've been in, well, in terms of crypto, I've been familiar with cryptocurrency for probably close to 10 years now. I messed around with mining Litecoin back like when Bitcoin and Litecoin were first a thing. Like so far back that I did it for about a month and I don't even know where that wallet is to this day. Like I don't know what's in it. I don't know what my balance is. I sometimes search for it just wondering. But that's what got me aware of cryptocurrency. And then, you know, kind of like that story where they say the guy bought the $1 million pizza or whatever it was with his Bitcoin. You know, I've got a pair of Sony Bluetooth headphones that I bought for, you know, half of an Ethereum, you know, years ago. So I say those are probably my most prized possession right now in terms of, you know, when I look back at mistakes you might have made, but all learning experiences at the end of the day, right? Everything's a learning experience. But I got into NFTs now. I'm not going to say full time, but a lot of my time back in August last year, so 2021. It was really soon after that Beeple news hit where Beeple sold that piece of artwork for tens of millions of dollars. That really perked my interest and got me looking at, you know, how is this pixelated CryptoPunk worth this much money? You know, I still to this day, my wife is like trying to comprehend it. But, you know, when I first showed her that image and like what it sold for, she just didn't believe me, you know, kind of brushed it off. And now I can show her like my World of Women or my Ethereum Tower, and she'll listen to me a little bit more about it now. But that's really what perked my interest. And I'm not even saying it's a hobby anymore. It is... It's what I'm about right now. Real estate and the blockchain and NFTs in general are just a big passion of mine right now, and it's exciting. And I'm here because I like to share all those experiences and the education I'm gaining, and that's why we're sitting here right now. But I'm going to stop talking and let Pili talk about herself just for a quick second here and why she's in this space and what she's doing in real estate.
So aloha everyone, nice to see you. I mean, I've seen your PFPs, but hey, I'm used to those. You are all so beautiful, and I love, you know, number one, I know Dane, you said we're going to talk about Ethereum Towers last, but I'm going to talk about it first. Since we're here, we're in our apartments, we're talking with each other. Why did I jump into Ethereum Towers in particular? So I was a part of Boss Beauties, and there was a collaboration that happened between Boss Beauties and Ethereum Towers. So of course I jumped in because I know, like, and trust Boss Beauties. I know, like, and trust Lisa. I've actually had in-person conversations with Lisa. Not in person, but, you know, voice conversations. So they were giving away the whitelist spots or gold list spots or allow list spots for the apartments in Tower 1. And I actually didn't get it. But I loved the community so much that I stayed. I love talking with everybody. I think this is like even before Tent City came about. I actually pitched my tent in the lobby. I remember making a joke about that. And then finally Mo, or better known as Emma now, said, why don't you go pitch your tent out in the garden? So I took my little Harry Potter tent, put it in the gardens, and just like let everybody come into my tent. About, I don't know, a few weeks later, there was a contest that you know, we all knew him as Dad back then, Dad Cypher, but now we know him as Shane. Shane had posted that there was going to be a giveaway of a luxury apartment. So, you know, not thinking this is probably the first time I did it, I did the retweet, I hit the heart, and I said something cool. I don't know what I said. And I remember coming back into Ethereum Towers, and I forgot who it was. It might have been, somebody like wrote down, look, Pili's here. I wonder if she knows. I was like, knows what? I'd actually won that first luxury apartment. I was like, of course, I cried a little bit, but then I wrote back to Shane. I was like, Shane, Jason, now you guys are never getting rid of me. Because you basically gave a real estate investor real estate.
That's right.
So you're never going to get rid of me. I'm here to stay. Plus, I mean, this community, and you all know this, I don't have to spout this anymore, but just in case you need to hear this, this community is amazing. I love hopping in here. There's always something. You can always go to a room and find some place to like talk to people. You can come into general chat, into the lobby, and just like hang out. And there's no like shilling. There's no, it's all positive. And this is like if you're building a community and a neighborhood, this is the neighborhood to be. So that's why I'm in Ethereum Towers, because you all are so amazing. So let's back up into real estate world. So when I hopped into Ethereum Towers, another great thing that I saw was that there was a real estate chat room, like there, a place, I want to say anemone, amenity within the Ethereum's world, and we got to talk about real estate. And I got to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is connecting real estate with NFTs. And so in the real estate world, I'm going to be completely honest with you all. The other place where I really liked was the bar, which I think Only Rares, now known as Brandon, used to head up way back in the day, because I am a former bartender. I'm a bartender and bar manager. So way back in the day, I ran bars. I was a manager of restaurants in New York City, and that's where I met my husband. So in 2013, let's backtrack. 2012, Hurricane Sandy hit the Northeast. My husband's company, his family's company, actually raises houses. So during the last year that we bartended and managed this bar, we were also helping his family business, because they just needed like back office help. I would answer phones. We would manage the construction projects from New York City. And this is all in New Jersey. So after that last year, Jason and I decided to start a family. I got pregnant almost right away. And I was just like, I'm done bartending. You can't do this and like do the restaurant stuff. For any women in here that have, kudos to you. I couldn't. So we jumped in, and like you, Dane, I got my real estate license because I had no idea how to be an investor, but that was one thing that I knew I could learn, and I knew that would give me access to the information that I needed to become an investor.
Correct.
We started flipping homes first, and Dane, you're going to appreciate this. Most flippers, when they start, they buy a home, put some lipstick on it, and put it back on the market. For us, we actually took what we knew how to do is to lift homes. So we would buy these flood ravaged homes, and we would lift it, but then we would lift it up basically twice, add a new first story, and add a garage right under that first story, thereby adding significant value to this house, basically taking a Cape Cod and turning it into a colonial. So while this was an amazing business plan, it took us forever to complete that first flip. So as we went on, and we've never necessarily lost money, but because we didn't have the systems in place back then to really manage the business, it took us over a year to complete that first flip from purchase to sale. And you all know that that hurts as a flipper, because I think we had to get an extension on the loan for that first one, and that was like money that kept on trickling out of our pockets. But the crazy thing is, if you look at this project, it's actually changed hands like either 3 or 4 times since we've had it, and every single seller has made money on this project. So talk about like the correlation between real estate and NFTs, like just on the investment aspect. Like I sold it, made my profit, and then it kept on appreciating in value. So the next person, the next person, the next person, like that first seller, I'm super happy that they sold it because they were just starting their family. It was a perfect price. We actually lowered our price for them, but it was amazing. So I could keep on going, but just to like fast track my real estate journey, that was the first one. Got into wholesaling, got into some mentorship programs, really took our wholesaling and flipping business to the next level. And then we started getting into this thing called large multifamily, large apartment investing. That happened. The small apartment investing started in 2015, 2016. 2017, we take down our first 93 unit in Louisville, Kentucky. And since then, we have invested in about $110 million worth of assets to the tune of 1,100 units since 2017 in large apartment investing. and then how we got into the crypto NFT space. Well, Gary Vee. You can thank Gary Vee for that. And that's like, I know I've been talking for a while, so I'm gonna stop it there so we can have more of a back and forth about how our worlds collide and how we can like combine forces.
Yeah, and that's what's so awesome. Which you said it took you a year to complete that, and for somebody right now, if you're doing that in the past couple of years, time is your friend, and it's not usually always the case in real estate. And we're not people that buy on appreciation. We're never thinking, well, this is what it will be worth. It's what it's worth right now, but it's hard to be in real estate right now and make mistakes. As long as you're buying it right, like I had already said. But
that's a really good piece of advice. Like, no matter what, it's a good time to buy, because if you wait now and it gets better tomorrow, then you're gonna like FOMO for yesterday. So just get in and learn, just like in the NFT world. Like, learn how you do this. And a good space to learn, or at least to start, is right here in Ethereum Towers.
It is. And that makes me think of something we should probably say, and that's our disclaimer. Everyone's got to say it now, is, we're not financial advisors and we're not giving financial advice. We're just, we're talking about things that we like, products or projects we invest in. But at the end of the day, we're just giving our own opinions.
Yes, it's all opinions, not financial advice. Talk to your CPA, talk to your attorneys before you get into this. Educate yourself. And yeah, we're just here to give you our journey.
Yeah, and this education is growing for all of us, day by day. When I think education, one of these areas that I think we're all going to need a crash course in soon, at least those of us in the United States, is going to be the tax aspect of crypto and NFTs and all of this. So I'm not excited about that. I'm still working on some of that for this season's tax season, but not too excited. When I go back and look at how I was doing some buying and selling of NFTs, I really regret doing that. I am a investor where I want to just have my long-term holds, and that's really how I'm looking at a lot of my projects now. When I'm investing in something, it's for the long term, especially when we don't know what to do with taxes just yet. But I'll take a step back myself and just mention how I got into Ethereum Towers, and it's very similar to you, Pili. It was actually through the Crypto Dads project. I actually did end up getting a whitelist spot, so that's how I got over into the channel as well. And same as you, I immediately saw the number of channels on the left hand side, and at first I was a little overwhelmed. I'm like scrolling for a while, but then I realized how perfect it was, and then I saw what you just said. It was the community, and that's what it is. It's bringing all these people from different projects together under one roof, under one house, and getting everybody to start interacting together. And I know that's what the goal and what they've already been achieving with Ethereum Towers. It's to bring everyone together to collaborate, just get to know each other, and have that place at the end of the day where you can leave all the individual servers and come to one place where everyone's at. And that's immediately what I felt. And when I first saw what this list of amenity channels were, that's when I reached out to Shane and Brandon and them and said, what about having an actual real estate channel? That's what we're talking about, a virtual apartment, condos, not apartment, condos. And we got to have real estate to go along with it, because it's just what it is. And I'll tell you right now, on the other side of my screen, and I am recording this, I just have the ethereumtowers.com website loaded up, and I just can't stop watching the video graphic that they have, just showing the immersive towers and the whole DNA helix and the way they intertwine. I love that. It feels like I'm part of a real estate project right now, with the fact that they have architects designing this, and they keep showing us, what we'll call a blueprint for what all the floors look like and everything. So it's just really exciting. And I don't know if anyone in here right now is actually new to the project, but one thing that their Ethereum Towers is doing is, they're creating their own metaverse. There's a lot of metaverses out there, and I think some of us are familiar with, the Decentraland and the Sandbox. I'd say those are probably the two most well-known names. But when you look at those, they're horizontal metaverses, and what Ethereum Towers is, it's a vertical metaverse. And what I think is so neat about that is when you have everything spread out horizontally, you're not going to have as much interaction. You're not going to get people always stumbling, or I'll say stumbling onto what you have above you or below you, or having like that communal area where everybody can collaborate and be. And outside of the Discord, when we start hopping over into this metaverse, I think that's where Ethereum Towers is going to really set themselves apart, is the way that they've designed this, and I just can't wait to see it grow. And I know one of the next steps is having their in-world economy and currency, and you'll earn that. Allegedly, this is all discussion, like what you'll find in the white paper, but you can earn that currency by owning the apartment, by interacting, hosting events, kind of what we're doing now. Might be a way, and I'm just really excited for it. So I'm glad to be a part of Ethereum Towers, and it was the Crypto Dads group that got me in. And now I'm at 2 apartments. I'm not at that luxury status yet, but I'm hoping on the mint for Tower 2, I might luck out and end up with one of those luxury ones. But that's how I got to be a part of Ethereum Towers myself.
Actually, to piggyback a little bit about what you're talking about with like the vertical versus the horizontal space, actually somebody on Twitter had mentioned that. He was like, why would you want an apartment when you can just buy land? And I was like, see, you're thinking Web 2 and you're thinking IRL too much. Yep. So if anyone here has had the same like thought, you have to think of the metaverse as simply space. Where is your space in the metaverse? I don't know of any other project yet that is going as vertical as Ethereum Towers is going. And this is really important. Like for me as a real estate investor, if I could buy air and like somehow sell that and put a house and make that a living situation in like air, do you realize like how like all of a sudden there would be more land in Hawaii, air in Hawaii that I could like buy and sell? You can't do that in real life. I mean, yeah, you can buy the airspace, but you can't do it the way you can in the metaverse. So within what Ethereum Towers is building is that they're actually creating more space. And since it's vertical, those people that are above and below you, you have a better chance of interacting with, like, just like Dane said. So, I mean, that's just another, that's the other thing about Ethereum Towers. Like when I first joined, it was like kind of like the hope. Somebody would ask me, so you actually have an apartment? I was like, no, I kind of have like a NFT that has my apartment number, but I haven't ever seen my apartment yet. And I'm trying to explain this to like IRL investors, yes. IRL real estate people. And I'm like, it's based on like what is going to be built into the future, because we're all new into this space. But I know, like, and trust this team so much that I know it's going to be taken to that place. It's going to be taken to that place where we'll have this space where we can be together and commune together and just have a really good time. And maybe like our like fireworks gift parties will turn into actual fireworks in the metaverse. Just an idea if Shane or Jason or Brandon or Em are listening to this.
Well, yeah, it's just a great way for, people internationally to connect as well. And I'm sure there's going to be numerous connections and relationships that are built with projects like Ethereum Towers and just getting everyone together. So, sky's the limit, and I say that, jokingly, sky's the limit with these towers here, but I'm excited, and again, it's just great to see the different communities interacting here. And if anyone in here, doesn't have an apartment yet, maybe you don't have the funds to get one, that's what's going to be neat, is it's not going to be exclusive. Like, you're not going to have an apartment to get into the metaverse here and experience the events and things that are going on. It is going to be open to everybody. So that's what's exciting. So make sure you guys are checking out all the different channels here while you're in here. But that is how I ended up leading this amenity channel, was just expressing how I thought it would be great to have this. At the end of the day, like I was already saying, there's so many different avenues and hats you can be wearing in real estate. So it's going to be hard to find that one person to lead this that has done all of that, but I feel I've been already wearing quite a few hats in this space where, I gladly raised my hand and said, yes, I'll help run that channel. So if you guys haven't hopped over there, I'd love it if you guys got over there, you'll see, I mean, we've got people like Pili who are doing syndication and growing their apartment numbers. I was talking with somebody the other day who's actually only 2 hours away over in Orlando area, and he's doing, over $1 million new construction, new builds. So really all avenues in here. The only thing I guess I can say haven't had too much commercial interaction, but with what you're doing, Pili, you can consider that commercial space. But in terms of actual, businesses running out of units, that's something I don't have experience with. But this kind of leads me into talking about let's talk real estate, and this is something I know you do in your clubhouse. But it's talking about real estate right now and the blockchain technology and NFTs and how those are gonna, where's the synergy? Where are they gonna come together? Because I think it is such a discussion to have, and it's hard for me to have this discussion with, like you said, the in real life real estate investors. It has been very difficult for me to have these discussions with them because I can talk about it and they're just sitting there shaking their head, which feels great. I can't say anything wrong to them with what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, these spaces are where we're really going to be able to talk about it and hopefully bring that to our own communities. And that's what I want to do here. I'm in Sarasota, Florida, and I don't hear much talk about it, but I would love to be one of those people who is at the forefront of being able to offer, whether it's a property that can be purchased through crypto, or even if it's just the deposit that's made on the property starting out held in that fashion. But I do want to be a leader here in my community and be part of those discussions. So I don't know about you and if you've seen anything yourself in your market that you're in Tennessee, but we're just starting to slowly see a few things. I posted an article in the channel, I believe it was a week or two ago, about how there was a transaction happening with crypto right now in the Tampa area. But you start reading through the article and you start to realize, well, it's not really being handled that way. And even the people reporting right now probably don't fully understand, what is making this a blockchain technology or transaction, and what you can call a true crypto transaction right now in real estate. And that's what I'm noticing when I'm seeing lenders and other people say it. It's not really being offered yet. And that's why I was really interested when you mentioned Proppy. Maybe this would be a good time to talk about that, what that is and how they're dealing with it.
So Proppy, and you all should look them up. Number one, the greatest thing I love about Proppy and like the people who have done these first transactions, at least in the US. So Proppy is actually a woman-owned and founded company. And the people and the woman that she did, or the investor that she did the first US-based sell, the first one I believe was actually in the Ukraine. I might have that incorrect though. But the woman that did the first U.S. sale, her name is Leslie Alexandra. She actually hopped into my Twitter Spaces. I was talking about her earlier, and lo and behold, she hops in and she says that she was the investor. And I looked her up. She was definitely the investor who teamed up with Proppy to do the first U.S. sale. Now, I haven't gone and taken apart the sale as much as I probably should, but right now it's being known as the first NFT connected real estate transaction. So some of the alpha that she dropped to me that night is that she actually left a lot of money, to like the tune of almost $200,000 on the table. When she did the transaction, she actually listed it on auction for the lowest amount that she could possibly take and still make the profits that she needed to make, which was to the tune of like 600 something. She had a IRL contract come through, a real like paper contract come through for almost 800. She didn't accept that one because she wanted to be first. So that was a really, really interesting story that I'll probably be sharing for like at least the next month. So if anybody here gets tired of me talking about it, well, I'm going to be sharing it because I think it's just so interesting, because as a leader and as a real estate investor, yes, you want to make that profit, but on the marketing side, that was an epic move. Like, because there was no, like, she only had 2 people actually jump into the auction. I guess there was a couple of technical difficulties on Poppy's side, but she only had 2 people jump in, even with all the marketing she did. And she did make a profit, but not as much as she could have. So that was a $200,000 marketing expense to her name. So that's what I know about the first US transaction. Whether or not it was done exclusively in crypto or on the blockchain, I cannot for certain say. But that is what Poppy is becoming known for, as like the place to do these real estate transactions on the blockchain and with crypto. My partner, who we're actually taking down it's not set in stone yet, but we're gonna take down a development project here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He actually accepted crypto for one of his flips. It wasn't on the blockchain, but the investor that bought the flip from him wanted to pay him in crypto, and he was like, sure. There's absolutely no reason for him not to. There was a couple of like transactional things that they had to take care of, but it was a crypto transaction.
It's interesting, and you think about that, even from the seller's point of view. Accepting crypto, it's like, are you offering it as, well, I'll sell this to you for 100 Ethereum? I mean, you almost have to be talking in the cryptocurrency and not, our fiat US dollar, because of how fluid and liquid all that is. You never know. You look at the value of what Ethereum is now versus a couple months ago, it's a huge change. And you think about that also with the transactions. If I go put, $100,000 worth of Ethereum into an account to make this purchase, and then come closing day, that now that value is worth $50,000. How does that get handled? Where's the agreement? But it brings me back to where I think this technology is going to improve the transaction process, and that's with the speed and convenience. Yes. Once you correct that, you can have those quicker transactions happen where we can be talking almost, I'll sell it to you for this price, and you can assume, within the day it's going to stay around there, because title search. I think title search is one of the most timely things on a real estate transaction. And if we can start to get that title work put onto the blockchain, and obviously it'd be a little difficult to start doing that in the past, but if we at least just get this started now, which I'm sure it's going to get started this year, that is going to speed up a big part of these transactions. At the end of the day, telling people I'm a cash buyer on their property, I'm so upfront and honest with sellers when I'm transacting with them, and I tell them,
you have to be.
And I tell them, I go, listen, if somebody's telling you they can close on your property in 3 days, that's not really, maybe they can, but they're not protecting themselves at all, and really you're not getting much protection either. You really need that. Probably 2 weeks on average is about the quickest I'll see a transaction happen, unless something's already been happening in the background. There was already title work done, surveys done. But all of those parts of the transaction, I think, are going to be the first steps that we're going to see slowly evolving. And I think there's a lot less risk on those as well. So when we start, integrating the blockchain technology into the title work, there's not as, the only thing that we're going to have to be careful of is going to be just the ownership verification. And that to me is another interesting topic as well, because that's where I think we're going to have this digital space where we have our digital ledgers, the blockchain, and at some point it's going to have to intertwine with some of our local agencies, whether that's our Social Security Administration, the Department of Motor Vehicles, the DMV, what we're used to. Some of their systems are going to have to tie in with the blockchain, because at the end of the day, we hear that term doxing for owners in projects. It's the same thing in real estate. You need to know who you're transacting with, and as much as we want to say decentralized, I don't think real estate's really, it's not the decentralized space. It is going to be centralized, but it can become more efficient, and that's what I'm excited for. It'll be a lot more easier, and I love real estate agents, but do I feel that they're needed at that 3% or 6% commission on every single transaction? No. If you and I want to exchange apartment buildings, there should be a more fluid way to do that.
And can you imagine, let's go with when this all gets on the blockchain? and I'm not saying, because I was a real estate agent for years. I actually was a working real estate agent. So any agents in here, I believe you should get paid. But I think, and please don't tear into Dane for what he said. He wants you to get paid too.
Yeah.
But the thing is, real estate agents, and you're already seeing it now, like their job is going to change. Can you imagine if you can just kind of just skip over title work, because the agent can simply go into blockchain title and look up the title work. So the woman who I spoke to today on Clubhouse, my friend Sabrina, she's actually a title agent. That's what she does for a living, and she is so excited for this to happen. But she has already said this is going to take a while, Pili. There's so much information out there that's going to like have to get like processed. But I also like countered her. I was like, that's what they said about the internet. When, like, for instance, let's take for any of my real estate investors, agents, anybody in real estate, you know the letters MLS, just like you know the letters NFT or REI. The MLS was once papers. It was all on papers. And even like when they started faxing, remember faxing and the paper and the like how the printer used to go zzz, 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 zzz. Yeah, I'm dating myself. So even though it seems like a monumentous thing that we're trying to do, especially with title work, it's gonna happen. And I think it starts, actually, I know it starts with new development. Like if we can get those new developers to jump on and transact within and on the blockchain, can you imagine? Like, and I think this has happened. I've had discussions, and I didn't verify this, but I was told on a couple of Clubhouse rooms that I've had, this has actually happened in the UK, where they've done a development and they purposely put it on the blockchain chain to see if they could be done, because they know how to do it like the regular way. Yeah. But why not try and see if they could put it on the blockchain? If I can, I'll find out more information about that and I'll drop it here for our Ethereum Towers folks.
Okay. Yeah, and going back to what I was saying about real estate agents, like you said, you know, I want everyone to get paid, but at the same time, that's why if you're in this channel listening to this, you're already a leader in that space to me. And a big thing in real estate, and I love this term in any business, not just real estate, is pivoting. You know, you need to know how to pivot. And in this space that we're in right now, you just need to be ready to pivot and offer and talk about solutions that the other agents in your town aren't going to be doing, and that alone will set you up front and start making you some money in this space if you're able to talk to them about, you know, NFTs and purchasing this way. And so that's just some food for thought there. I'm trying to figure out
basic information.
Yeah, I'm already trying to figure out how I can be the resident real estate agent for Ethereum Towers. How can I make some money off of every sale here?
You should. You should. I mean, you can, especially when we start building out what's going to be in each room. Let's say one of your rooms becomes like, I mean, no one's going to tell you not to make one of your apartments Ethereum Towers real estate. I mean,
well, that's something
Jason
that
or Shane might have something to say, but hey, it's your apartment. You can do what you want with it, right?
Well, and that's what's really intriguing to me in the NFT space. It's me trying to figure out the passive income aspect of it. No matter where that is in a project, where can I find some more passive income? Because it's all about having those different income streams, to set my future. I'm not relying on the government to give me a check, when it's time for me to retire. So that's something I've really been looking into a lot, and I'm in real estate, it's at the top of my mind when I think of passive income, and I have my rental properties, and I really think about it in a sense of, okay, well, I've got this property that maybe I had to put $30,000 down to buy it. Now I've got a property management company, and let's say I'm netting, let's just use easy numbers, $300 a month after all my expenses are paid. Well, there's headaches and things that, even though you have property management to take away a lot of that, there's still headaches, there's still bills. But this space is so different from that, and to think maybe I can rent out one of my Ethereum towers and make some passive income on something that has no overhead besides my internet bill.
No toilets.
That excites me. Exactly. Don't talk about plumbing to me right now, Pili. I'm going through some major problems with multiple properties.
Property management.
Yes. Yes.
No, but I see where you're going with this. I mean, like, so one of the things that I'm trying to do is to get more people who are like strictly NFT, like they've made money in NFTs. I'm trying to bring more of them into what we do as real estate investors, like bringing in their private money, getting them as part of what we're doing because of the tax benefits of what we do. There's so many tax benefits of what we do. Again, I'm not a tax professional. This is not financial advice. Go talk to your tax professional. But if you look up, because I'm going to say this wrong, it's called cost segregation. And this is something that I do to all of my properties. And I'm just going to bring up actually the people that I work with. So cost segregation is basically it's an engineered based study of the assets that I buy. So you are allowed to, so when you purchase or build a commercial property, it depreciates over 39 years or 27.5 years for residential rental properties in my case. So you're actually, every time you purchase a property, so when I purchase a building, the government treats it as a new asset. So I can actually do something called forced depreciation and take that depreciation at the beginning of the purchase, which allows me to pass that over to my investors, which allows them to take that against their taxes. So if you want more information about that, I'm actually not the best person to talk to. I will be the first person to raise my hand and say that. But look up the terms cost segregation and depreciation and read up on it. Because even if I were to spout all the information necessary for you to fully understand that, we don't have the time. And understand that this is why like big names invest in the asset class that I invest in, because this is the way that they save on taxes. I know it's not necessarily fair, but this is the way the US government is built right now. So why not for everyone that's in the NFT space? And a lot of this is new people to this space, new wealth that's being generated, people that are able to understand the game, quote game, it's not really a game, but quote game of NFTs. Why not bring that and be able to help yourself on your tax burden by jumping into real estate that actually helps you to do that?
No, it's a great tip, and it's true. I mean, you're not a financial advisor, but those are facts. You know, there's a lot of savings in real estate, and that's where a majority of the billionaires, millionaires have all made their money.
It's that is a well-known fact that most billionaires either started or have parts of their portfolio is real estate. So why not diversify for any of my people who are in the NFT space? And sorry, my phone's jumping around. In the NFT space, making money, creating new wealth for yourself. Why not shelter a part of that wealth by jumping into a more well-known asset, at least to the United States government and to the world in general? Yeah, why not?
Well, I know we're running out of time here. Let me ask you a question, though, because this is something that I think should be talked about, and this is an open forum about it. But what do you feel are your biggest concerns in the NFT space right now?
Oh, safety. Actually, one of my community manager, and I call her my head security guard, has actually been listening to the to our discussion. Crystal Grove. She jumped into Ethereum Towers to come and listen to what we're talking about. I wanted her because she is one of the mods for VFriends. She actually was asked personally to go into the new project that's happening, My BFFs, to overhaul their security there. So it's really important, number one, Discord, turn off your DMs. If anyone here still has their DMs off, please turn them off. That is and Crystal said this earlier today, 80% of all scams that you're going to get scammed with is going to come through your DMs. And it's just simply being careful. Like now, like I get random links on my phone from AT&T or like anyone saying that I won something. I'm just like, delete, or I just don't touch it, or what have you. It's really just the safety measures that you have to take into consideration. But also remember though, because we're so like engrossed into what we're doing in NFTs, remember when you explain like all the scams that are happening, also remember that those scams on a different like basis is happening in real life. There's bad people everywhere. They're just taking advantage of this space because it's so new and so decentralized, and they can jump into this space and do that. So just be safe and surround yourself by people that like and trust, who know people that know more than you. So when everything went down this and last week with OpenSea and the phishing scam, or I don't even know if they figured out what it actually was, where did I jump in? Well, first I asked Crystal, and then I went to Fame Ladies, and then I came here and when I came here, Shane had posted something. He was like, Pili, just go here. And I was like, okay, I'll go there. And then I realized that I didn't need to do that. But the thing is, like, you need to go, I also asked NFT Ignition. I have to give her credit too. But come to those communities, and this is why communities in this world that we're building together is so important, because you need to go to those people that you know you can get the information from that will possibly save you 100, 1,000, hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what's in your wallet. Because that phishing scam, apparently, even if you had a hard wallet, if you had like touched that link and allowed them access to your wallet, didn't matter like how many hard wallets you had connected to that wallet. It was it was
quick.
Wiped. They could have gotten you.
Yeah. Yep, no, I'm 100% with you on that. It's just the scams, spam, and security in the space right now. It's, and I had an incident happen where it made me open my eyes, because this was something that I was talking about cryptocurrency with a tile guy. He was doing tile on one of my rehabs, and I forget how it came up, but he was asking me if I invested in any cryptocurrency coins. So we start talking about it, and then I mentioned him, well, actually, I do NFTs too. And he goes, oh, I've heard of those. And I show him my OpenSea on my phone. I said, these are just some of the ones I have. 3 weeks later, we meet up again, and he goes, Dane, I got on OpenSea. I got scammed. And, not everyone can lose, $1,000. He shrugged it off and smiled about it, but it made me realize, I can talk about this with people, but I also need to be at the same time talking about the right ways to do this. And it's hard to just think that I could go tell a family member or anyone like, hey, go invest in these right now. As much as I want to, I think we all got to be cautious of how we're explaining it to people, and even holding their hand and helping them get set up if we need to. But yeah, there's certain people where I'm like, no, there's no way I could tell this person about it. They'd be the first person clicking on that link that says, they won this free NFT. So yeah, I think that's a hot topic, and one that, thanks to channel servers like Ethereum Towers, where they're able to put that announcement out there, within a couple hours of something happening. That's awesome. It's great for the community. And so I'll wrap this up by I'll let you do a little plug for what you have going on right now. But to lead into that, I'll say, what you're doing got me to add a word to my goals sheet, and it's the word legacy. Because I love that. I love that word, and it already hit home with what I'm doing right now, and that's everything I do each day, whether it's the NFT space or buying rental properties, and I'm not just buying NFT, I like the art too, but at the end of the day, they're investments. We got to be honest, they're investments. They really are, even if you love the art. But, I'm trying to leave that impression, that legacy in my family and friends and people that know me minds that, Dane was working hard and he did everything that he could, to leave this legacy, So that's what I love. I love that you've introduced this, and I will now let you talk about why I'm using that word legacy.
So thank you, Dane. I'm not going to take too much time to show the project. But the reason why I called it legacy is because my grandfather on my father's side, my stepfather's side, actually did just that. So in ancient Hawaii, the land was split up at one point, and that was called the Great Mahele. And my family on that side kept theirs. And they have like one small piece now, but they had my grandfather and my grandmother kept land on Oahu. They sold a piece, actually a condo, like Ethereum Towers, for a good amount of money, which allowed my parents to buy their house. They have another piece of property in Kaimuki, which is a pretty expensive area of Oahu, where now my sister and brother get to take over that house. And then my mom and dad have their house. So they left a legacy for my family. And if you know about anything about land in Hawaii, it is super expensive. So and I went through a lot of different titles, using the word legacy, and I'm really, really happy you're thinking about that, because that's something I want, especially people in this space. I want you to start thinking about your legacy. Like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you staying up all night? Why are you dealing with the FOMO? Why are you dealing and trying to make that money, make that bag, fill your wallet, whatever you call it? Why? And this is something that my husband and I, Jason and I, have talked about over the years of being real estate investors. Even when we were bartending and bar managing, we were like, how are we creating a legacy at that point for our future children, and now for our 3 children? Like, I really want to be able to buy a building, name it the Luke, and leave it for my child. Now I can stuff a wallet full of assets for my child, and that, you know what, maybe it'll go to 0, or maybe it'll be worth $1 billion. I mean, Dane, you might have $1 billion wallet out there and you don't even know. That's crazy that you can't
Yeah.
find that wallet. Anywho, I am off on a tangent. So Legacy Leaders is an NFT project that I've been talking about since about October, making the connections between real estate and general business, really, and NFTs. It is a project that'll give you access to basically a ticket to a real estate NFT conference that I'll be holding here in Nashville later on this year.
Awesome.
That's a huge one. It'll also give you access to the community, which we're going to have more financial real estate education in. We just opened up our first real estate room there, so you are welcome to join that. My husband jumps into that room a lot because he's like, I don't understand Discord. I was like, baby, just jump into this one channel and you'll be fine. So there'll be a lot of real estate education, not only on what we do now, but we know how to flip homes. We know how to connect you with the right tax people. We know how to connect you with the right cost segregation people. And again, it's really based on creating that community. And I always say this, and if you go into my Instagram or if you followed me, relationships equal partnerships. And those people that jump into my community, I consider you all partners. We're going to be building this amazing thing. It'll also give you access to an NFT powered real estate project that we will be doing a few months from now. Now I'm going to release a little bit more information here than most places that I talk about this, because we're still talking about with legal about how to really talk about this. So a real estate syndication is basically the pooling of funds to buy a single asset, and it's highly regulated by the SEC. So you have to understand, when I talk about this is something that I cannot mess up, because I am heavily regulated by the SEC. What I do goes through all the correct channels. So I will be going through all the correct channels, but I will be connecting another NFT to this project. More information to come on about that later, though. So, and plus our artist is just really, she's just amazing. Her name is Sio. She is a Marvel Comics, Aspen Comics. She's worked for DC. She's done so much amazing work, so you can look her up too. So the art's going to be fantastic as well. So just a little bit about the project.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. Oh, and I will say, I guess my dad left a small legacy. He left me a 1 acre piece of land on the big island of Hawaii.
Boom!
I'm pretty sure lava flows to it from Mauna Loa.
Where's the property?
It's in Hawaiian Paradise Park.
Ooh, that is in lava's. That's like lava zone.
Like, I'm pretty sure the last time there was the eruption, they were actually like routing people through that neighborhood. So that's exciting. I've been there and visited it once just to check it out and see it. So maybe you'll have to give me some ideas of what to do with that.
We definitely have to talk about that because there might be a couple of things that you can do there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I mean, just to wrap this up, I just want to thank you, Pili, and everyone else that's sitting here joining. You know, I think on future talks, I'd like to have, you know, people from the channel ask some questions and make it a little bit more open forum and hear what you guys all have going on in your lives in real estate and in this space in general. You know, and just, you know, couple of quick things I was just thinking, you know, what I can be bringing to the channel or to the next conversation would be, you know, almost a little bit real estate like statistic oriented, where it's like I could talk about, you know, the highest sale we've had, you know, in the tower, you know, lowest sale average sales, maybe come up with a little bit of data like that, just to have our MLS statistics.
I think that would be really fun. Like at the beginning of the chat, it'll be like all like Ethereum Towers real estate statistics. I mean, that's the best way to like bring, I think, the community together on the real estate aspect to actually make that connection. Because in actual real estate, that's what we talk about. We talk about the numbers. We don't talk about how we feel about our projects. We talk about the numbers.
That's right. So yeah, so I was just thinking of something like that. That'd be neat to incorporate into it. And then outside of that, I hope everyone does hop over into the real estate channel so we can get to know you a little bit better. But that's going to wrap it up for today.
Thank you so much for inviting me over. I hope we have more of these discussions. And for everyone that's here, you know how much I love to throw down that aloha. So all the aloha to you.
All right. Well, aloha. And thank you again, everyone, for joining. And we will see you in the server.